AlexDesigns. I'm your host, Alex Harris, and today we're chatting with Rich Page. How you doing, Rich?
I'm doing very good. How about you? Thanks for having me here.
Rich is the author of Website Optimization, An Hour a Day. To get started, what is your definition of optimization and why is it beneficial?
That's a very, very good question. I actually just wrote a blog article all about conversion rate optimization and how I found that very few people still don't really understand what conversion rate optimization is, and particularly in comparison to SEO. I actually found that, believe it or not, if you type in CRO in Google, you could run a search right now if you want, there are no results, no relevant results whatsoever. Can you believe it? Conversion rate optimization, yes. And if you want to bid on it, it's going to cost you like $9 a click, but zero results for conversion rate optimization, which I find absolutely astounding. So that indicates to me that people don't know what conversion rate optimization really is. Particularly, the smaller businesses out there that, it's all about driving as much traffic as possible to a website to increase sales. So I guess I would say the conversion rate optimization for me is trying to optimize your website so that it converts more of your visitors that you are already getting to your website into sales or leads, without you having to buy additional levels of traffic. So when that's using website testing, web analytics, web usability, and online marketing best practices to do that. And I actually have a bigger encompassing phrase, which is the title of my book, Website Optimization in Our Day. So I think of conversion rate optimization being a part of website optimization in general. So that's my kind of unique kind of angle, I guess.
Well, I find it really interesting, and it's actually kind of one of the reasons why I called the show Marketing Optimization, because as I asked people, do you know what conversion rate optimization is? Oh, of course I know what SEO is, and that's usually always the answer if you're not in the space.
Very annoying.
If you're listening out there, you can definitely learn from Rich or I about how much opportunity it is for you to write a book like he has or do consulting like I do. I see you doing a lot of great services and consulting, but the angle that you really take is to review people's sites and give them an outside view in order to help them improve their conversion rates. Tell people about that review process.
Yeah, sure. So, I used to go down the service line of, writing reports, whereas now I'm more focused on, based on feedback I've got, doing website live conversion reviews. And why that works particularly well is because I give these people a fresh perspective of their website on the phone with them. So we're reviewing the website together. I put myself in the shoes of a first-time visitor because obviously it's important to make sure that your website caters to their needs. Otherwise, they're going to be going back to Google. And then really asking these people that I'm having these reviews with, what they think their unique value proposition is, for example, because quite often they say it, but then I try and find it on their website. It's not there. So how do they expect their visitors to understand what their unique value proposition if they're not stating it? It's because they're so ingrained in creating content for their website, improving their website, that they don't take a step back and put themselves in their visitor's shoes and figure out what actually can I do on my own website? They don't often even try and buy something on their website. They don't know what breaks. They don't know what their website looks like in different browsers, different screen resolutions. All these types of things have a really big impact on what your website visitors think of your website, and therefore how they convert on your website, and therefore how much money you make. Yes, exactly.
What would be some of the things that they would learn inside the review process?
Well, for example, if it's an e-commerce website, I will show them benchmarks for other e-commerce sites that I think have particularly good conversion rate optimization best practices. For example, rei.com does many things very well, with the category page facet navigation on the left-hand sidebar. Mm-hmm. It's one time and time I see again these smaller e-commerce websites that they'll often just have the navigation in the left-hand sidebar on their category pages, let alone being able to have a check item list of different areas you can filter your pages by. Mm-hmm. So that's what I help show some visual examples, not just just say this is what you need to do. I'll say, and here are some examples of how this works so well. Mm-hmm. That seems to be very popular.
Yeah, I was going through some of the bullets in the benefits that you receive from the review process, and one of them is social proof building tactics, and another one was what first-time visitors will think of your website and how to reduce those bounce rates. Why don't you give people a little bit of background on social proof and reducing bounce rates?
Yeah, so here's my way of explaining it. So if you're hungry and you're walking by a restaurant and you look in there, like no one's in there, right? You're not going to go in there because no one else is already in there. There's no signs of life, especially if there's no reviews in the window. There's nothing from Yelp or any other social proof elements that will make you think, okay, this is going to be good. So it's the same thing for a website. So if you go to a website and you see a lack of activity, there's no signs of life, there's no one commenting about it, no one talking about it, there's going to be a higher chance of you thinking, oh, no one's using this, so this must be from like 5 years ago, or like it probably isn't very good. So I'm going to go back to Google. I'm going to try and find something else. So that's a really important thing that many websites forget to do. I actually did a blog post about that. I came up with a specific technique called the buzzworthy technique that will actually help you look at your website and see whether it is building enough social proof to make sure that people are sticking on your website and engaging and hopefully converting. So, it's like doing, not just having testimonials, but making better use of your testimonials. If you can get video testimonials from your visitors, if you can't do that, always have a photo of the person giving the testimonial, and make sure that the testimony isn't particularly long, because, people aren't going to want to read a long testimonial. And then at the end of the day, the most important part of it's probably going to be buried in the middle of it, the real action, like the real, yes, that's the real reason why I want you to use you. So make them be snippets. You can use Twitter, embed your tweets that are particularly powerful. That's what I've done on my conversion rate optimization toolbox page. Those work really well because they're 140 characters, so they're really easy to read. You can see who they're from, so it's got the visual element. So that's just one example of just social proof, but you can do all kinds of things, making sure you have social media mentions if you've been mentioned from a particularly good source, particularly if it's like a Forbes magazine, or you're shown on Yahoo or something like that.
Well, I think it's great because you're providing a lot of value in giving people real tactics and actionable advice that they can use, and then kind of working that into the review process.
I like to think so.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also mentioned how to improve headlines and call to actions. Is there any advice that you'd give to someone who's maybe testing their own site on how they can either test or improve their headlines and call to actions?
Sure. First of all, there's a real quick one. Make it as short and to the point as possible. Don't over elaborate. Don't be too creative. Don't be too clever.
Yeah.
Just make it short and simple, and get people resonating with that and engaging with it. Other things you can do are asking questions that are relating to whatever it is that your page is about. That's really going to help. You can even use a testimonial as a headline. That's another headline that you can test. But ultimately, as with everything on a website, you shouldn't just presume what's going to win. You should test it. So if you've got enough traffic, Optimizely, Visual Website Optimizer, they're pretty cheap. Go subscribe to one of those and test, 3 or 4 different headlines for your homepage. Because, if they don't engage with that headline, there's a high chance that they're going to bounce. So it's really key that you get that headline right.
You did mention your conversion rate optimization toolbox, and you can get that through the show notes or visiting his website, rich-page.com. And there's a lot of great information there, calculators, tools, case studies, a lot of great stuff there. What are some of the highlights or useful tools that people would find that could help them?
Well, one of the more unique things in it is, as you mentioned, the calculator. It's the conversion rate revenue uplift calculator, and that really will give you a great idea of the potential impact on revenue that you're going to get from trying to do conversion rate optimization. So it asks you just 3 questions, and then it's going to give you the direct impact on your conversion rate and on your revenue. So it's been very well received. Another one that I'm particularly proud of is my 10 quick high impact conversion rate test ideas, which because people often don't know what to test first. I often get asked, like, what would I test on your website if this was my website? So And the quick, real answer behind that is that you need to be able to test things that don't involve much IT involvement, basically. So testing things that are visual, or testing things that have copy with them, not trying to change things in your shopping cart too much, or changing the layout. But so in this PDF, I offer 10 quick things that you can test in there with some examples, visual examples, so you know what I'm talking about.
Now, based on all these the reviews that you've done so far, or the toolbox, what would be 3 tips that you would give to someone who, either working at a company and help that company, improve their conversion rates, or generate more leads, or maybe it's a solopreneur like me who wants to, really figure out how to take their conversions and tweak them a little bit further?
Okay. My favorite one at the moment that I'm getting people to focus on more is providing an incentive for someone to give their email address to you, because you shouldn't just rely on your website on trying to convert your visitors the first time they arrive. It's very hard. I mean, unless you're amazing at conversion optimization, and you have a particularly exciting product that people want, or unless you're Amazon or another one, people that they're going to want to explore, they're going to want to take their time, and they're going to want to compare you to someone else. So to make sure that you can market to them again, you need to get their email address. It doesn't matter what it is. You can do this with e-commerce sites. People think this is just something you can do with lead gen sites or service-driven websites. So, like if you have an e-commerce website and you have a particularly a niche area that you're in, write a free ebook about that and get people excited to want to get that for free. Put it in your footer, put it in your sidebar, and get people to give their email address to you. Because once you've got their email, you can set up an autoresponder series. Send them one email every week. That builds a relationship with them and gets them to come back to your website to buy from you if they didn't in the first time. So I think that's really, really important to do, and that's what made one of the reasons why I wanted to test creating my toolbox as a free incentive. Because you see some free incentives out there that aren't particularly very exciting. Like I see sign up for a newsletter. Like, ooh, wow, who really cares about a newsletter these days? I mean, you can put it in your feed reader. It's the same thing. So unless you provide value, that if you're going to have something like that, you need to mention that you get free unique content that you won't find on my website. That's going to be a good thing you can try. But yeah, just really try and build up your email list and get people to come back and convert your emails rather than just relying on your website converting. So that's a real one that I think is really important that not enough people are focusing on. There's some good posts out there about this topic. Tommy Walker, I noticed, has written some really good articles about how to optimize your email autoresponder series that I really loved. And I was like, wow, someone's actually writing about this kind of stuff. It's fantastic. So definitely recommend you check that out.
Yep, Tommy, I had a great interview with him on the show. He is the editor at conversionxl.com. He definitely writes some great stuff and has a great perspective. I want to dig into a little bit of your conversion toolbox, of how you are creating that value. And it is key that the way Rich is doing this is based on the individual page that you're on. So while you can have many different methods of collecting emails, in particular, he's creating an experience that's all focused on the content that people are reading on this one page. So he's at the bottom of the page, he's saying, grab the toolbox for free before he starts charging for it. And he's creating some type of scarcity and urgency for people to give him the email address to collect the lead and improve his list, but particular to that individual page. A different way of doing that would be using a blog post and then maybe giving away a PDF or something else that's unique to that page in particular. Maybe putting it into a PDF so they can download it. And you can do this great with a lot of the email opt-in tools. It doesn't matter if you're using Aweber, MailChimp, Infusionsoft, or any of them. You can actually do it really great with lead pages as well. but it's unique to the individual page, because if someone's coming off of natural search or something, they're going to land on that page and they're going to be reading through the page. So you're giving them something in return for reading that.
Yeah, it's very true. It's going to work.
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
Increase the chances of them buying from you. The reciprocity theory. The whole exit intent pop-up thing is really important to do. That's going to increase the chances of someone opting in before they leave. I mean, it's the last shot, and so you might as well. And so many other websites do this, like Neil Patel's website, Ramit Sethi's website, and they're much more useful than these pop-ups used to be. Like I often hear that, oh no, I can't put a pop-up on my website because people hate those, don't they? Like, well, yeah, that was back 10 years ago when it used to be a banner ad that used to pop up, that used to flash at you saying click here, click here, click here, and then you couldn't close it properly, but these pop-ups, they're easy to close, they provide value, and they're extremely common, and people claim that they're terrible, but they're not. People don't complain about them that much. You'll hear many online marketing experts say the same thing when they do it on their website. So
a lot of people do ask me, because I do have the popover on my site. It doesn't show on the first time visit, but it's on the second time visit. If people are return, it gives you an overlay.
Yeah, you can configure it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I tell you that it does work, and I can't get rid of it right now because it actually has doubled the frequency of my opt-ins. So I definitely recommend testing an overlay on your site. Maybe it's timed as you scroll down the page, or second time visitor. You really want to figure out how it works for you, but those overlays definitely work really well.
Yeah, I actually, when I implemented mine, I managed to get my opt-in rate for my toolbox for a few days. I got it up to 45%.
Wow.
Opt-in rate. I mean, it's dropped since, but I was like, wow, that really, really works. And that's a really high opt-in rate.
Yeah, and go and check out what Neil Patel and Ramit Sethi or Conversion XL are doing, because they all have doing it in different ways, and you see them testing a whole bunch of different things. So that's just a path for you to model success and try it for yourself. Let's switch gears and talk about the book in general. So tell us a little bit about the Web Optimization An Hour a Day book.
Sure. Well, those of you out there that may have obviously heard of Avinash Kaushik, he wrote the same book in the series called Web Analytics An Hour a Day, which was funny because that's the book that got me into being a web analyst originally, and I had no idea that one day I'd be writing a book in the same series as one of my heroes. So that was really cool. But no, I'd written the second edition of Tim Ash's landing page optimization book, and I'd finished that, and I was thinking, no, I liked it, but I didn't have control over the whole thing, and it wasn't always my unique kind of angle and perspective. So I thought, I'll start writing an ebook. And it kept growing and growing and growing, and the publisher found out about it, and they're like, "Oh, this looks good. Do you want to turn this into website optimization hour a day?" And of course, naturally, I jumped at the chance. And a year and a half later of sleepless nights and no social life, it was born, so to speak. So. But it covers all kinds of aspects of conversion rate optimization, not just like A/B testing. It covers how to get insights from your web analytics tools, how to get feedback from your visitors, how to run a successful conversion rate optimization program for your company. I used to previously work for Adobe and helped with their test and target clients. So I've seen all kinds of experiences of how to make sure you're being most effective with your CRO program, from the small sites to the huge, like the Vodafones and the Skypes out there. So there's a lot of really good stuff in it. In fact, I think if anything, it's got too much in it. I could have made it like 500 pages, and in fact I had to trim away a lot of it because they wanted it to be only like 300 pages. So, but I guess I just love writing. So,
what would be one tip to help optimizers or website designers or developers take their websites to the next level?
Well, one thing that I think that so many websites still fail with, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, is providing unique value proposition, or USP, or depending on whichever term you use. Mm-hmm. You need to really emphasize that on your website, and don't just think your visitors are going to know it. And one of the best ways I find of doing that is, first of all, on the homepage, have a module that explains short bullet points of reasons to use you rather than a competitor. I did that for a client at titaniumjewelry.com. That worked really well for them. And another thing you can try is having these unique value proposition things in your header. So you pick 3 of the most important unique value proposition things. So whether that's the fact that you offer free returns, something unusual that some don't offer, and have that in the header. Pick 3 things you can test which ones are the most highly engaging, like whether you offer a guarantee, whether you've been doing this longer than anyone else. If you have like 10,000 happy customers, test 3 and see which ones give you the highest conversion rate. And the beauty of that is that people are going to see it on every single page that they arrive on it. So if they arrive on your homepage, they're going to miss this module. Whereas if you have this in the header or even in the footer, or even in the sidebar, they're going to see it. It's going to give them reasons why they should purchase from you, and not, for example, go to Amazon and purchase it over there.
Yep.
I think that's one that so many people, this, as I said earlier, they're so ingrained in their site that they forget to explain to your visitors why they should use you. And it's such a fundamental thing that it doesn't matter what your shopping cart is like. It doesn't matter whether you're using a homepage slider or not. It's like, that's one of the most fundamental things you got to fix and test and improve.
Well, I think it's key, and Brian Eisenberg actually gave some of the same exact advice, because people miss out on that, putting your unique value proposition in the header on every single page, because you're never really sure where they're going to actually drop onto your site. The homepage, it might get 50% of your traffic, but the people who are looking for an individual topic, they're going to go further down into your site, further down the funnel, and you want to ensure that you're educating the people in the same way. And figuring out unique value proposition is key. And you do that like how we do everything else. We test it. You have to test a variety of different things. You might want to test conversion rate optimization expert. You might want to test over 10 years of experience. You might want to test helping people make more money. I'm telling you some of the things that I'm testing right now.
Sure.
But you really want to figure out a whole bunch of things, because then once you figure out your unique value proposition, then you can use that for advertising. You can use that on Facebook, and that could be your real unique differentiator that you go out to the marketplace with.
Sure. No, I totally agree. You're going to nail that.
Yep. Awesome. Let's close by telling people how they can find out more about you and share your Twitter as well.
Yeah, sure. You can come to my website, rich-page.com. You can get my toolbox there, and you can find out more about these website reviews that Alex was talking about so nicely. And you can follow me on Twitter. I tweet some great case studies and my own kind of advice regarding conversion rate optimization. And those are the best ways of getting in contact with me. So
awesome.
It's been a pleasure being here. It really has.
Thanks a lot, Rich.
Thanks very much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for watching the Marketing Optimization Podcast with AlexDesigns. Please remember to subscribe to all of the videos in my YouTube channel. Thank you.